Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the RecPoker Podcast. This is our chats edition but we also have a weekly forums edition that's all about strategy. I'm Jim Reid, your host for both, and I go by Bluffsterini in the home game and at RecPoker Jim on socials. And I have the best freaking job in the world talking poker with my friends every Monday night at 7:30 Eastern live on YouTube. Come and join us for free, and you can win a prize just for showing up. We're talking to the fitness jerk, TJ Jurkiewicz, in just a moment. But first, I'm proud to share that we're brought to you by Running Aces. They're the official sponsor of the RecPoker Podcast. Most of what we do here is free. We're a largely volunteer-based organization, so we really depend on support from our sponsors and from our premium members who take part in our training materials and study opportunities for only $22 a month. Give us a try. You can always get your first month of premium for only $5 by using the code RecPoker at checkout. And you know we love supporting food banks. So if you make a donation to a food bank in your area for any amount and send us the receipt, we'll happily send you your first month of premium membership for free as a way of just saying thanks for helping out your fellow humans. Now, you get to know my voice because they let me host the show on Mondays, but I'm only one man, and it takes a crew to make all the magic happen around here. We call our leadership panel the Wrecking Crew, and if you want to learn more about me or the rest of the Wrecking Crew, go to rec.poker/crew, or you can just listen up. You're going to meet a few of them on the show tonight. We've got Lorianne Persinger, Rob Washam, John Somsky, Joe Coolis, and, of course, our invisible producer, Rob Gardner. Gang, what's going on this week? I got to tell you, I don't know if you can tell if you're on video. I got these electrodes hooked up all over my body. I'm on this weird halter test thing. I got this box connected to me by wires all week. I'm not supposed to get up to anything too fancy. And we're sort of like tracking what's going on in Jim's body because I'm turning 45 this year, folks. And time moves on for all of us. So I know, Rob, let's just listen. We're all getting there. You know, it's the new 25 from what I've heard. So I'm very excited about that. But speaking of the Wrecking Crew, the thing I'm most excited about is we had Matt Matros join the Wrecking Crew last week and make it official. And so that got my heart a-pumping because I got my first study session with Matt Matros last Thursday night. So we're doing a series of study sessions. He's coaching me up leading up to the WSOP main event in July. And so that was the first one of those. But we also had a coaching session from professional player Mark Zhang, and from professional player and everyone knows Matt Affleck. So we had 3 professional players coming in here and coaching up our members at RecPoker, and I was just so pleased about that. It's such a cool thing that we're doing here. Rob Washam, you are officially the RecPoker Santa, and at the end of the show tonight, you're going to be pulling a couple new coaching winners out of your big bag of tricks. So stick around to the end of the show, folks. Rob, what else have you been getting up to, Santa?
Well, I 2 weeks in a row now, I've made the cash, made the money in my little recreational home game that we have at the rec center here.
The rec center.
A rec center.
Yeah.
Well, they got
sponsorship
tables, they got pools, they got all kinds of, they got shuffleboards, believe it or not. There's shuffleboards up there. I mean, they've got everything. Workout room, craft room. It is a recreational center. But anyway, I did come into money a couple times now in the last couple of weeks. And besides that, on the home game, I've been playing a little bit lately. And our guy, Eric Anderson, has asked the question. He wants an example of somebody making an overbet bluff in the home game. So I've been looking for spots over and over again to make those overbet bluffs. I've made a few overbets, but nobody has called me yet. So it's kind of hard to prove that it was a bluff or not. So I want everybody that's playing the home game, if you see me overbet, it just might be a bluff. You just never know.
That's true. Nice image play there, John. Rob, I see what you're doing there. Lorianne, you got to go play on the actual feld. It's not just online home games for you. How'd it go?
Actually, it went pretty well. On Wednesday, Rick and I, as part of our date day, played a very unusual tournament at South Point. It was what they refer to it as an ICM Survivor tournament, and it was a very turbo structure. And the way it went, it was at 2:00 in the afternoon, so we did it actually before going to dinner. And the way it was, they skipped some levels, but like I said, very turbo structure. But it was very fun and unique in the fact that it was set up where you just simply play 11 levels. And after 11 levels, who's ever left, you play one more orbit where everyone pays the blind. And after that, they do a chip chop. You get your $100 back plus a percentage of the overall prize pool. And there were 7 of us left standing. There should have been 6 if it wasn't for that damn river that got me. But I finished 3rd out of 7 in the chip chop. So like I said, it was a very fun, very cool structure to play. I'm always looking for something different. And that was definitely different. So shout out to South Point for doing that. Yeah, that was actually, like I said, we had a really good time with it. I would have had fun even if I didn't cash.
Yeah, sure. I can see how that does speed it along too, right? Because those, getting to the bubble and then the shorthanded play, that does take a long time, and it, entertains fewer players. So I get why they would kind of speed that along. Definitely that kind of reminds me
some strategizing going on there, because you want to make sure that you last, but you also want to have some chips, when it comes time for the ICM chip chop. So definitely a very interesting structure.
I remember when PokerStars used to have their double or nothing tournaments, which I used to build up my bankroll a lot about 20 something years ago. Because like I said, we're all old now. And that was, they eventually had to.
You're old. No,
that's speaking only for myself. But that was one thing that they had to adjust, kind of in the way that they're adjusting satellites to landmark satellites now. Because when it was just a double or nothing, it was all about just getting to the finish line. And what they ended up doing was paying out proportional to your chip stack. So you were still incentivized to build a stack to gain chips at the end, even if you were getting closer. And so I like that the industry is kind of pivoting towards these different formats. It's still straight poker. It's still very interesting at those stages of the game, but it does kind of take out some of these elements of it. So that's pretty cool.
I forgot to mention the most important part, though. I happen to be wearing the RecPoker patch. So I'm sure that played a big part in it.
That's
right. Definitely the patch.
So you showed up with the patch and you made some money at the poker tables. Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
That's what you're hearing correctly.
I gave the proper incentive for her in order to improve when wearing the patch, and look what happened. So
leave it to Joe to take all the credit. Damn it,
Joe. I'm glad to see that the new good luck charm is working out perfectly for you, Lorianne. That's great. And I always love hearing about the date days and the date nights that you and your husband get up to. That's wonderful. John Somsky, we were talking a little before the show got live here, and you were sharing some good news about your own wife's recovery and how you've been sort of helping out with that.
Yeah, last Wednesday, my wife had a fusion in her back. It's the second fusion she's had, and so I have been in the hospital visiting her and helping her out. She's home now. She got home on Saturday, and now I am doing everything here because she's not able to. So it's been keeping me busy, and I'm realizing that nurses are really underappreciated people. And I am very glad that I am not one most of the time.
Yeah. Well, good for you. There's nothing like a major, episode like that to feel loved. I know my wife had a terrible accident a couple of years ago, and I was helping out with a lot of things around the house and with her care. I had a pretty major back injury, 15 years ago, and Mrs. Blefsterini had to put my socks on every morning and take them off every night for like 6 months. And it really is nothing like being reminded how lucky you are to have someone who loves you when something like that comes to pass. So good for you. And everyone, thanks for sort of listening in and being part of. I got some amazing feedback this week, some personal feedback on socials and in emails for some non-poker related stuff at all. And it just really made me feel like, what we're doing here at RecPoker is resonating with people. And I feel really lucky to be part of this fantastic group. So thanks to everybody for all you're doing. Rob Gardner, we're about to bring in our guest, TJ Jurkiewicz. Are you sure you have all the recording equipment set up properly? Do you have it all? Are we
freaking
set? Are we
hope
down?
So. I mean, my God, like, yeah, I hope so. I believe it or not, I have a DM in Twitter right now, like pre-typed out with like, all I got to do is paste the link to this recording for TJ. So hopefully he'll get it. He'll get it right at that. Is that my cue to bring him in, Jim?
Bring him in. Let's do it.
Let's bring him in.
Let's get this interview started. TJ Jurkiewicz, this is awesome, man. So if folks don't know, TJ's halfway across the world. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning over right there right now. This is how much this guy loves poker and recreational poker players. The sun's not even up, but he's up. He's here. He's on the RecPoker Podcast. Thanks, TJ. This is a real treat, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I love what you guys do. I've always told people I think poker is a much better hobby than a profession. So I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, sweet. You said it, man. Well, let's get right into it. So we like to open our interview, this first question, to kind of frame the conversation. You've worn a lot of hats in the business over the years. You've been a pro player. You've done a lot of writing. Obviously, you kind of own this area of the industry now when it comes to diet and fitness and preparing off the table to be at your best. How would you define your own current role in the poker world?
It's a good question. I think that my experience, both with my struggles with my weight my entire life, and then also combined with playing poker professionally for 8 years, all those experiences has molded me into the person that a lot of poker players have come to, because they can relate to the struggles that I've had both as a professional poker player and the struggles that come with having a varied schedule, and then also the struggles that I've had with my weight. And I think that's what's allowed me to work with Phil Galfond and Chris Moneymaker and Jeff Platt, Matt Affleck, who you talked about earlier, Andrew Moreno. I think the relatability really is what draws people to me. And I think that my role in the poker world is someone that has gone through all the struggles that these people have gone through, whether that's with their weight or with poker or with both. And I think that's what makes me fit into this industry in such like a niche way.
That's a great answer. You have a very distinctive voice. I want to know, has your voice changed over the years as your body has changed, or is this just how you have sounded, since you first started getting the peach fuzz on the chin?
I wish I had the answer to that. I've been told my voice sounds like I am in witness protection, but I'm not blacked out. And I would, I come right before social media blew up. Like, I wish I had video footage of me back in like high school and what I sounded like, but I couldn't answer that. But yeah, I definitely have a very unique, distinct voice.
Good. Well, good for a podcast. I'm glad you're here. So we like to open our interviews with opening the action. This is kind of like our lightning round. We're going to throw just a bunch of questions at you. We're going to try and get as many as we can in 2 minutes. So yeah, hydrate, take a deep breath. You can say pass, but if you take too long to answer the question, we're going to give you the buzzer. All right, you ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right, opening the action with TJ Jurkiewicz. The first question is an easy one, TJ. What is your favorite poker hand?
Aces.
Is poker a gamble or a skill game?
Long-term skill, short-term gamble.
Great answer. What's your biggest poker pet peeve?
Euros.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Is ace king a drawing hand?
No.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Cash or tournaments?
Cash.
Live or online?
Live.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
But like insects of all different kinds.
Should vacations be lazy or busy?
Lazy.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
God, no.
What's one thing you complain about in your life?
I try not to do too much complaining, but probably weather.
Name one player that you really respect.
Phil Galfond.
There's a yellow light coming up. Slow down or speed up?
Speed up. I'm from New Jersey.
Broccoli or cauliflower?
Broccoli.
Who is your poker nemesis?
Don't have one.
All right, I don't believe you, but that's okay. What's a great name for a dog?
If it's a very small dog, something ironic like Beast or King. And vice versa. If it's like a huge dog like Princess or
I like that. Fluffles. Yeah. Are you pro chop or no chop?
These days chop. When I was playing professionally, no chop.
Name. All right, there we go. Great. That was a good one. We got through quite a few. I'm going to let our proprietal algorithm run in the background, and we'll let you know what your score is at the end of the show. But I think this is going to be a good one. That was very good. Very good. Very impressive. All right. So we are going to get into some of the questions here. I want to remind our YouTube audience, if you've got questions for TJ, nothing would make us happier. Just please type them into the YouTube chat. We're also looking for 3 names of players we can play Stake, Study, Stack with TJ with at the end of the show. Regular listeners will know what I'm talking about. And stick around until after the interview. We're going to give away a prize at the end of the show, just like we always do, to benefit a local food bank through our raffle. So YouTube audience, get the questions in, Stake, Study, Stack suggestions, and stick around for our food bank raffle at the end of the show. All right. Lorianne, you had the first question for TJ, I think. Why don't you jump in?
It might help if I unmute my mic. Hey, TJ, how you doing? We'll start simple. What does TJ stand for?
Timothy James, very biblical.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was curious. And I see when I was looking you up that after you graduated from Rutgers in 2012 with a degree in criminal justice, and about a year later, you were a high stakes cash game player. Can you tell us how that came about? And have you been able to utilize your degree at all?
It's funny. So the way the civil service test worked I wanted to become ultimately a state trooper in New Jersey, and the civil service test just to get into law enforcement was every 2 years or 3 years at that time. And I had time after I graduated, and I got a job working security in Newark, New Jersey at Anheuser-Busch. It's across from the airport. You can see it every time you go there. So I was working there for a year, and I was going down to Borgata every weekend. Whether I had a room or not, I would sleep in my truck in the parking garage and play like 48-hour sessions, or sometimes I would get a room. And I was playing poker I would get off my shift. I had graveyard shift. I would get off my shift 8 a.m., drive straight to Atlantic City and play until I couldn't open my eyes anymore. And I met a guy there, Mark, who I'm still friends with to this day. He also went to Rutgers, and he was playing sometimes at Borgata. And then eventually he moved down to Maryland, where he was being staked to play. And he told me, hey, why don't you do this? And the civil service test still wasn't announced yet. And I decided, can I curse on here? Let me ask now.
A little bit.
Go for it.
I said, screw it. And
you can say
that hurt my soul.
Yeah.
I said, screw it. And I went and did that. And I moved down to Maryland, and I was getting staked to play 2-5, and I actually started off horribly. Like I'll tell like a quick funny story. I was down to like my last money. I actually walked into Costco with 6 quarters to go get a hot dog and the soda combo, and I forgot about the tax, and I had to walk. This is before Costco took cards. I had to walk out of Costco and leave because I couldn't afford the hot dog and soda combo. And then I was working hard studying. I eventually started winning. Then I went to 5-10, was winning there, played 10-25, was winning there, played in some 25-50, 100 games, and did really well there. This is back when Maryland Live was just still kind of new, and it was just an absolute treasure trove. Hopefully that answered your question. Also, no, I have not utilized my degree at all. That was a stupid thing to get a degree in for me personally.
You got something to fall back on if you ever need it.
That's true.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of curious about the being staked as a cash player. So most of our audience started as tournament players, and we've kind of attracted more cash players, I think, over the years. And I think people are kind of familiar with tournament staking. It's all very transparent. You show up, here's the tournament you're buying into. Everyone knows what the buy-in is. The place that you finished is public information. So like the record keeping, the accountability for tournament staking is very clear and transparent and obvious. For cash staking, it's kind of a murkier world where you're buying in, you're topping up, you're tipping for food and drinks at the table. And like, how rigorous should you be in that kind of a situation? And sort of like, what was that experience like for you?
I mean, looking back, I used to look back on it, even when it was happening, I was like, man, this requires an insane amount of trust. And the person that was staking me obviously got burnt a lot because he was trying to stake way too many people, and you know, eventually you're just going to get burned. But yeah, I was like, man, like if I was a scumbag, you could easily just do plus or minus 100 from each session and put 100 and it would be so easy. So yeah, I don't recommend anyone get into staking cash game players. Thankfully, I'm an honest person and was able to do it, but yeah, it's definitely a weird dynamic and requires an insane amount of trust with the person that you're staking for cash.
Yeah, and I think in the poker industry, trust and reputation is so important. I mean, it is in every industry, but in poker, I think even more so. Did you like hear some horror stories of those stories of it going wrong, or people putting themselves in positions where they shouldn't have?
Countless stories like this. with cash game staking. It's way more like, well, let's just take into account that people can lose, right? Like they can just lose. But even beyond that, the ways that you can get burned beyond people just losing, the possibilities are endless. So yeah, I would definitely recommend probably don't get staked for cash, and don't stake people for cash. Just play on your own dime.
Yeah. So what caused you to take it on in your own poker journey when you were in that part of your life?
Oh yeah, so then I take the civil service test ends up opening, but now I'm playing 25-50, I'm playing 10-25. I go take the test. I actually got the highest non-veteran score from like my entire whatever. I don't know, the test was pretty easy, but and then I got basically hired to join my hometown police force, which was like a dream of mine before I started playing poker. And then I get there for the interview, and I remember I had like this like moment where I'm looking around the waiting area in the main lobby of the police station. It's like a dated police station, and I'm looking around, and I had been there a bunch of times. My uncle worked there, and I was just like, in my head, it's a scene from Breaking Bad, but in my head I was just like, is this the best you can do? And I was like, no. And I had all this dread about like moving back to my hometown. There's a bunch of complications with people that are in my hometown and me. And I was like, screw this, I'm not doing it. I went in there and told them I don't want to do this anymore, and decided to take the leap on poker. Everything just happened, just like was coinciding at the right time, that I was crushing poker and moving back to my hometown. And this was during the Ferguson riots, and I was like, man, everyone hates police officers. I am someone who doesn't like to be actively disliked. So I was just like, screw it, I don't want to pursue a career in law enforcement anymore. I had this other avenue which seems way better. I've always valued freedom above everything else, and poker, that's what drew me to poker in the first place. So that's why I ended up choosing that as my career.
There you go. And freedom is something a lot of people love about the poker industry. You've really followed that, I think, very dedicatedly, to the point now you're living in Thailand. I see all these fantastic photos of you on like sun-drenched beaches with fantastic food in front of you all the time. So I know we were just kind of talking earlier. The new show, season 3 of White Lotus is on right now. That's set in Thailand. You actually got a chance to swing by there and check that out. But what brought you to Thailand? How has your journey taken you to this kind of exotic destination?
Yeah, I had friends that had come here prior to me coming, and I ended up coming here for the first time 2023, I believe. I had nothing holding me back, so I just decided to do it. I came here for just 2 weeks, and I just fell in love with the place. Like, obviously, the food, the weather, the people are so nice. The culture is built on mutual respect. But it doesn't matter where the person's standing in the hierarchy. It's a lot of mutual respect, which I love. Everyone bows to each other, says hello. Everyone's very friendly, and I noticed that a lot of people here are happy with very little. And I think as someone who, you know, grew up in America, and it's a culture with a lot of ladder climbing embedded into it. Like, you reach one milestone, whether it's with your career or whatever, and it's like, okay, what's next? What's that? You don't even stop and smell the roses at all. And I think that really left an impression on me here. And then I came back last year for a longer period of time. And then this year, I actually got a 5-year visa, and I'm going to stay for at least 1 year, see how I like it for 1 year, and then make a decision. But that's what ultimately drew me here.
That's very cool. Is there much poker in Thailand? Do you get to play much?
I actually just went to my friend Christian Harder. He just dragged me over to Cambodia to play in the. I played the WPT Prime. To no avail, but there are cash games here. They're underground. They got the army there protecting the games, but I have not played any. I have no desire really to play poker right now. If there is another stop around Asia and somewhere that I want to visit, there's actually a WPT Prime in August in Taiwan that I think I might go to. It's funny, nowadays I actually do prefer tournaments, because I'm not going to sit there and grind hours and hours and hours of cash. I'd rather, you know, play a tournament where it's more like a lottery ticket where, hey, I can put a little bit of money in and I can win like this crazy amount of money. Yeah. It's actually more fun to me now to play tournaments now that I'm not a pro.
That makes sense. And I think that's a very good way of putting it, actually, TJ. Like, it's more fun to play tournaments because you're not a pro, so you're not depending on the grind of sort of continued revenue. Like, what makes cash games great is the variance isn't as great. You can kind of show up, even if you have losing sessions, you're still kind of, your graph is going up. Whereas tournaments, it's just like you're losing 85% of the time, and then you get these, you know, rare, huge spikes that kind of keep you in it. Those are more fun, but it's kind of stressful if that's what you're paying your mortgage with at the end of the day.
Yeah, with cash, there's no hiding from the fact that you absolutely have to put the hours in. And I'm someone that I want to play poker 20 hours every other month. Like, that's where I'm currently at with it.
There you go. Cool. Folks in the YouTube chat, I've got some great questions coming in here. We're going to get into them in just a second. I just want to remind our listeners and our audience here, we love supporting local food banks. If you make a donation through YouTube to us directly through a super chat or a super sticky or a super comment, we will share a portion of all those donations with a local food bank. And if you go to rec.poker/support, you can find out some great ways to help us out for free, some ways to help us out financially, and also how to support some of the causes that we feel strongly about. We've got a list of charities and other organizations that could benefit from your support as well. And of course, I want to shout out, we've got a couple new folks that are subscribing to the Patreon, where we do our audio versions of a lot of our training videos. You can go check that out for $10 a month. And some new premium members. So Tina Stafford Legay, thank you so much for being our newest premium member. And I hope that you really enjoy what you have to find here at RecPoker. So thanks for your contribution to keeping this organization going and having all the fun that we do. So some questions from the YouTube chat here. So we've got one from Dan Edwards. Is it hard to balance a great diet and fitness?
No, as long as you are patient. I believe the number one problem that most people have when they try and take on a new fitness routine, or they decide they want to lose weight, is they're way too impatient about it. I mean, patience, poker as in life, patience is like a top value that you should be living by. And I think it's way easier to balance if you take a longer term view of things. I always tell people, you know, the mechanism that you're trying to use to lose weight, the way that you're going to be eating, the way that you're going to be working out? Is it something you can see yourself sticking to 1 year from now, 5 years from now? If the answer is no, you need to go reevaluate what you're trying to do and make it so that you can see yourself doing it sustainably for the next year, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. Because if you do that, the game gets a lot easier, it gets a lot more fun. And, you know, at the end of the day, what's the rush? You know, that's my philosophy.
Yep, I like it. We've got a question here from Benny the Jet. TJ, has anyone ever seen you and Travis Kelce in the same room at the same time?
I've gotten this so many times now. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't see it. It depends how Travis is looking in the picture or the clip. But yeah, I've gotten that.
I see it.
Actually, I was in Thailand, and I passed these two dudes from America, and one did like a double take, and I heard him say, "Holy shit! I thought that was Travis Kelce." I had to. I think I tweeted it. I at least told some people about it. That was pretty funny.
You should just tell people that Taylor has, and she's wrote a song about it. You'll hear about it coming up.
Me and Taylor are here. Don't tell anyone. Please keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
I love that.
She wanted to see where White Lotus was filmed.
Yeah, that's right. Great questions from the YouTube chat today. We've got obviously, TJ, you've got some people that are really interested in hearing from you in your area of expertise here. So we're going to get to a bunch of these questions. This one's from Eric Ebsen. It says, during long poker sessions, what are some things we can do to stay alert and active? And how can we eat well when we only have poker cafes available?
Okay, let's tackle the beginning of that question. One thing that really worked for me, number one, something like the two things that everyone ignores, but are going to be the two of the biggest levers you can pull in terms of like your energy and alertness when you're playing poker. You need to get your sleep under control as best you can, because I know for professionals, the hours can be very sporadic, especially if you play in home games. You need to get your sleep under control and your water intake. Those are two things that no one really focuses in on that are going to help you tremendously with your energy and alertness. Another thing that I did when I was playing is every 2 hours, I would try and go for a 15-minute walk on a break. No matter how I was doing in the session, no matter who was at the table, I would go for at least a 10-minute walk around, listen to some music, just get your body moving around, and that would help me stay alert for those longer sessions. In terms of, you know, some poker cafes, the options are very, very dire. I would just focus in, if you can, just order some form of protein, chicken, fish, steak, and some vegetables, if possible, or get a salad with chicken or double chicken with it. I understand that's a very boring answer, but sometimes I've seen some of these poker room menus, my clients send them to me, and there really is nothing good on there, but that would be my best suggestion for that.
Yeah, this is kind of the follow-up question from Benny. He says, like, so when you're at like events like the WSOP, it's tough to avoid fast food on dinner break because just what's available in the areas around you. What can they do? What can players do to sort of like prepare for that in advance?
You know, it's funny. This really handsome fitness coach wrote an ebook called the WSOP Survival Guide. All you gotta do is give him your email. You can unsubscribe after if you want. I literally, this is before AI too. I made this, which I'm actually tilted about because it would have been so much easier. I went to every restaurant's menu, walking distance from what's now Horseshoe. It was Bally's when I wrote it. I went to every restaurant menu and I wrote down a few things that you can get at each of them. There might be a few places on there now that don't exist anymore, but for the most part, it's still a solid guide. If you want that, just DM me on Twitter at @thefitnessjerk, JURK, and I'll get that over to you. But I knew that there was a gap there that I could help fill with options during WSOP. And then once you see the options that I list out for all these restaurants, you sort of get an idea of what you can order at pretty much any restaurant on the strip. There are some places that are just absolute pits of despair in terms of ordering something that's not going to leave you feeling awful. We'll put it that way. But yeah, I did write that guide, and yeah, a lot of people find it very valuable. They save it to their phones. The table of contents is clickable, so you just click what hotel you're going to, what restaurant, and so the one place just closed, but the best place is Yard House. It's tough to get to on the shorter dinner breaks though, because it's in the Link Promenade. But that's a very solid place to get something to eat during WSOP.
Nice. That's great, man. So yeah, folks, I'll make sure that TJ's Twitter handle is in the show notes. So give him a follow and DM him, and he'll send you a copy of that. I can see how that would be really, really valuable. What if you are able to kind of like prepare some stuff at home to bring at the tables? Like what kind of foods do you recommend you can kind of like put in your knapsack? It doesn't necessarily have to be refrigerated all day, but it's going to treat you well when it's dinner time.
Yeah, I actually did a video series, poker backpack snack reviews. That'll be on Instagram at the Fitness Jerk. But beef jerky, protein bars, meat sticks, turkey meat sticks. There's some great stuff at Costco. They have a bunch of good jerkies, good meat sticks there, good protein bars there. I used to actually, I would buy a little insulated cooler and I would make like turkey and cheese wraps. I would use low carb wraps. But ultimately, yeah, beef jerky, protein bars are like my go-to answer. Mixed nuts. But ultimately, it's going to come down to your own feedback and how different food makes you feel. Some people are going to feel very tired and lethargic having certain foods. So you obviously want to avoid those. I recommend that people, after they eat anything, if they're trying to like really optimize for this, after you eat a certain meal, set an alarm on your phone for 90 minutes from then and be like, how do I feel right now? How's my mental alertness? How's my stomach feel? Because some people are going to react very poorly to certain meals. Other people are going to find those meals perfectly fine for them. It's all going to boil down to what works best for you. Yeah, I used to smuggle in cooked chicken. Like in Baltimore, you couldn't bring outside food, so I had to smuggle in chicken breast that was already cooked in a Ziploc bag in my cargo short pants. And it would it's so disgusting. Like people would look at me. I tried to avoid eating it at the table, but people would look at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because that was the only option. But
yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, so we do here in the Reid household. We do a couple rotisserie chickens a week, and I just debone that baby, put it in the fridge, and then hand to mouth. That's me for a couple of days. There's some good eating on them, no doubt. Joe Coolis, you look like you want to jump in here with something. You look like you're fighting some temptation.
Well, I just think somewhere out there's an AI image construction putting together the words TJ, cargo pants, and cooked chicken. And I just want to see what that comes up with because your description of it was very evocative, let's just say.
I don't know how to do that, but someone should.
Yeah, that's great. So we're getting some great questions from YouTube here. I'm really enjoying this. So we're talking about, we'll take one more actually. This is from Dan Edwards. So where do you stand on diet soda or like 0-calorie soda?
I'm totally for it. I've done a bunch of personal research on this. A lot of people that I really respect in the industry. Basically, everything that was shown to be bad about diet soda was in rodent studies where they blasted them with I think it was 400 cans worth a day or 80 cans worth a day. And then they showed a 20% increase in the propensity to get colon cancer or something, like one specific form of cancer. But the people in this industry that I really respect, Lane Norton, James Smith, all people that are much smarter than me, are totally fine with it. I think if you have 2 or 3 cans of diet soda a day, you're perfectly fine and well under the threshold to where it's going to become harmful. The poison is in the dose. I mean, you can drink too much water and die. Not to trivialize it, but
no.
The poison is in the dose, in my opinion.
That's great news. Thank you.
You're talking about the saccharin study from TAB from years ago when they would just give rats a mountain of saccharin and so on. So. Yeah,
and I think saccharin isn't even the primary sweetener used anymore. Yeah,
it's not. The newer studies that have tried to criticize sucralose, which is NutraSweet. I'm sorry, not NutraSweet. It's Splenda, and then the NutraSweet as well, which I'm not going to try to pronounce the sugar substitute. They've consistently tried, and they just can't find any connection with it unless you essentially do processes that aren't consistent with the research should do.
Right. And if it's funny because I know if it is revealed someday 10 years in the future that diet soda is really bad for us, I'll change my opinion at that point. When you show me data that and here's the thing, I don't mind if people choose not to drink diet soda because I understand there is an element of the unknown there. So that's fine. I just hate when people try to push those narratives onto other people, especially unprovoked. Like sitting at the poker table, if you order a diet soda, eventually, and this has happened to me plenty of times, it's happened to my friends, someone will say, "Oh my God, that's worse for you than regular soda," or they'll say you're going to get cancer or something. And it's like, just shut up. Just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And if studies do come out that prove that it is harmful, I will stop drinking it. But right now, I feel perfectly fine drinking it and recommending that my clients drink it.
Can I follow up real quick, Jim?
Yeah, please.
So how do you, as a fitness or nutrition fitness coach, deal with, nutrition and fitness are filled with misinformation, and it's very hard to study it effectively because you can't take somebody from birth and put them on a certain diet and put somebody else on a different diet. So you're always kind of looking at it from a population level and people lie about what they eat. And so there's lots of problems in that area. How do you specifically deal with a lot of the almost religious zeal that people have for specific findings, or when you hear people kind of parroting stuff that actually doesn't work or it isn't true?
Yeah, so I actually got 2 certifications. They're not from like a university, but they're from companies that are reputable, Precision Nutrition and then Nutrition Coaching Institute. And I'm also working on another one now just because I'm like a nerd about this stuff, from Lane Norton, who's like my number one mentor when it comes to fitness information. And basically there's like there's a pyramid hierarchy of evidence. And you want to, it's very difficult, like you alluded to, because you need to have tightly controlled, randomized control trials in humans, which costs a ton of money to do because you need to put human beings in this tightly controlled environment for 14 days because down on the pyramid is self-reported studies, or opinion pieces. And a lot of people take the bottom of the pyramid stuff that they see on Google and they just go with that as dogma, and they think that is 100% true, when the studies up higher on the pyramid will actually disprove that entirely. So I think people just need to really consider what type of study that they are putting all of their beliefs into, and make sure that it's at least like I said, like a randomized control trial in human beings, for you to make like a concrete opinion. Because like I said, people smarter than me, that's what they do, and I've just adopted that philosophy in myself, and it's served me well so far.
Okay.
So this is an interesting conversation. So I mentioned at the top, so I'm in my 40s. Oh God, it feels great. Actually, this is the role I was born to play. But I am taking more care of my body. I'm trying to be more aware about stuff I should have been more aware of in my 20s and 30s, And so I had a doctor's appointment last year, and my doctor told me that my blood sugar was becoming alarmingly high, that I was in a pre-diabetic state, and that I needed to start taking real steps to lower my blood sugar. And so I've been attacking it from different angles, mostly on the diet side, just fewer carbs, less sugar, more protein and vegetables, some exercise, but I'm a lazy guy. Intermittent fasting has been something that I've kind of found to be effective. I feel like diabetes and pre-diabetes is kind of taking over America. I think a lot of people would be better off lowering their blood sugar. Do you think do you see that as well? And are there some sort of common, easy steps that people can take to be a little more careful with this growing epidemic?
Yeah, I actually had a client with diabetes. He he was very overweight, and we actually got him down probably like 50 pounds, I believe it was. And he said he went to his doctor, and the doctor basically told him he reversed his diabetes. I think losing weight and getting down to a healthy weight is by far the best ROI that you can put action into. I think getting down to a healthy weight is like the cure all for so many things. It's not even necessarily like obviously you don't want to be taking in a ton of sugar if you're diabetic. But I think that's, the overall foods you eat. It's like with weight loss, the quality of the food actually matters much less than the quantity of the food. Because if you eat 3,000 calories worth of, the cleanest foods, just avocados and eggs and steak and vegetables. But if you eat 3,000 calories worth and you need to be eating 2,000 calories in order to lose weight, it's not going to work out for you. That's not to say you should be eating 2,000 calories worth of Oreos every day. You will lose weight. You won't feel great. It won't be good weight that you're losing. But yeah, I think losing weight is the best way to attack diabetes.
Yep. Good answer. So, folks, we've got a bunch more questions here, but if you want to start typing the words food bank into the YouTube chat, that will enter you into our raffle at the end of the show. And I just want to remind folks that the reason that we support this fight against food insecurity is just that it's kind of a difficult time in the world right now for a lot of people. And it's never been more important that we help out the people, our neighbors, the folks in our community, in our own neighborhoods, to just put food on the table and to help feed hungry people. So if you just pull out your smartphone right now and Google food banks near me, you'll find some organizations that can benefit from a few volunteer hours out of your week, a few dollars out of your pocket, or some non-perishable food items from your pantry. And I'd encourage our listeners to just type the words food bank into the YouTube chat so that I have an excuse to say food bank about 30 times today. And do consider making a donation to a local food bank. Rob Washam, you, as I mentioned, are the RecPoker Santa. We're going to be giving away a prize at the end of the show. We're going to be giving away a prize for someone in the food bank raffle. We're also going to be finding out who's going to be this month's coaching client for Matt Affleck and Mark Zhang. So you've got a lot of stuff on your plate, but what's the prize going to be for our food bank raffle tonight?
Okay, today we're going to give away a free month of pokercoaching.com.
Nice.
Premium. And even if you don't win tonight, you can get 3 days of pokercoaching.com premium for free by going to rec.poker website, click on resources and select learning partners from the drop-down menu. If you click on poker coaching, you can see that you get a 3-day trial to check out everything on their website, make sure it's what you want before you actually commit. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. And back to the conversation we were just having about nutrition. I think it's interesting because diabetes is present in my household. And my wife went to a nutritionist and he said, it's not really so much important about what you eat, but how you combine proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So as long as you're combining the three, the types that you do are not as important. So I think, I don't know if that's something that TJ can speak to, but that's what a nutritionist here locally told us.
Yeah, I actually have my clients on all of them on high protein diets. Most of my clients are looking to lose weight, and protein's, for a slew of reasons, the best macronutrient for weight loss. It's the most satiating. But yeah, I think protein is lacking severely in the world's diet right now. I think people aren't eating enough of it. Because it's so easy to eat carbs and fats. They're the ones when you walk in the grocery store, they're the things on sale. They're the things on the outer aisle, like in front of the aisles, Oreos, chips, everything like that. Carbs and fat, the hyper palatable foods that you can eat a ton of that are a ton of calories. That's what's causing most of the issues with weight in America. My client that I helped reverse his diabetes, he just popped up a message. He said his A1C went from 12.8 to 4.9. I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, just high protein diet, calorie deficit, moving around. Yeah, don't try and complicate things. Just try and eat less, try and move more, try to get more protein, stay hydrated, get plenty of sleep. And there's no way that if you do that, maybe your diabetes wouldn't get completely reversed, but there's no way that if you do that, your health would not improve. So just think of it that way.
I've got a couple more questions here. Joe, did you want to jump in? I just trying to gauge from.
The one thing I was just thinking about it is I always want to, when people come in. So I see a lot of older individuals. I'm a psychologist, and it's important to remind them that diabetes is a complicated disease process, and not everybody who, even if they could work and look as great as TJ is looking today, they may still be diabetic. And I think that one of the dangers that you run if you always put it as, well, if I just do everything right. So what you were saying, TJ, if I do everything right, my illness will go away, because it has to do with how the pancreas processes insulin and how that transfers sugar across. And that's not all just down to how much we weigh. It's associated with it, but it's not the only thing. So don't become discouraged.
It could also be, some people are just unlucky and it's hereditary too.
Right.
They could be in great shape and they just get screwed by the genetic lottery.
I was going to add to that and say genetics plays a big part in it, because my family is predisposed to diabetes, and knowing that has always affected the way I eat and my sugar intake and all that my whole life, just for that reason right there.
Well, and I think that there's some danger to it that people don't always think about, because persons of color tend to be at a much higher rate of a variety of different disorders. And there can be a tendency to think about that in the context of, well, you're just not doing enough. And that's not true. It has much more to do with genetics and some other things. That doesn't mean that it isn't important to do exactly what you're saying, but just be careful about what we put on losing weight as an indicator. It's a side effect. It's not always the cause of the problem that you're looking at. Does that make sense, CJ? I mean, I'm not trying to put words.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Unfortunately, it's also a lot more expensive to eat healthy, or on the flip side, it's a lot cheaper to eat unhealthy. That's always, I thought.
Yeah, you can go to, I don't know if they still have it, you can go to Little Caesars and get a $5 pizza, and it's not bad. I've had it. I've ashamedly admitted it. I've ashamedly ate it a handful of times. It's $5 for a large pizza, and someone that's struggling with income, or, they don't have time to cook. That's such a great option for them and their family. Get 2 pizzas. You can feed a family of 4.
My son loves these things that I call despair pizzas, and they're like Marie Claire's. They're about this big, and they have a cheese product on it, and it's mostly salt, but it's like $1. And the reason I call it despair pizzas, because what I ate when I was in graduate school, because it's all I could afford, and I was like, it's despair pizza for me this week.
Yes,
but it wasn't healthy.
Yes. Or even when I was younger, macaroni and cheese, Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Sure.
It's interesting what we eat when we're younger. And like I said, based on budget and income, it does make a lot of difference.
Yeah. So a lot of questions still about sort of the diet side of things. You kind of got at this earlier, TJ, but Mike Day asks, what types of foods are best for a long session, either before the session or during?
Yeah, for my clients, I tell them on dinner breaks to avoid, like very carb heavy meals, only because like avoid just eating like a straight pasta dish. I would say gravitate towards protein, veggies, and like a fistful of carbohydrates, rice, potato, pasta, because that's what's going to cause those feelings of fatigue. I think when you have to digest all that food, people like to carb load for races, but that's for physical activity. When your body has to digest that food while you're playing, that's why so many people, I think, bust after dinner breaks. I think they go run the Johnny Rockets. I had Johnny Rockets last WSOP on the dinner break, and it was like $28 for like a burger and fries. Anyway, they run down there, they eat that as quickly as possible because it's convenient and it's right there, and then they go back to the table and they're just feeling like absolute garbage,
Mhm.
and then they sort of look for a way out of the tournament, I think, without even realizing that's what they're doing. So I think, and it goes back to what I said earlier, focus on the things that 90 minutes, 2 hours after you eat it, you're like, wow, I feel good right now. You know, I feel loose. I had salmon with sauteed spinach and some white rice, and I feel good right now. And have that be your go-to. Try and experiment a little bit and try and find some go-to meals. It's harder if you're traveling across the country, but if you're playing consistently in the same locations, the same venues, try to find those 2 or 3 things that you can go to and have those in your bucket to pull out when you really want to have something that's quick, convenient, and not going to have you feeling like garbage when you're digesting it an hour and a half, 2 hours afterwards.
That's great. And I'm seeing I love our YouTube chatters. There's some great success stories in here as well. Mike, Hubie, Rachel, all talking about their own weight loss journeys and trying to become healthier and what's worked for them and that kind of thing. So like, congratulations, gang. Like it's hard to do. If it was easy, everyone would be looking like our man TJ here right now. It takes hard work, and it takes not always doing just what comes naturally. So congratulations to all of you, and thanks for sharing your successes with us. And I love to hear it.
Do you have a lot of clients over 50? And if so, how is it different over 50 than under 50?
It's not that much different because I do give my clients a lot of flexibility and freedom. And I try and take what their existing lifestyle was with work and everything. Some of them are retired, so they have much more free time. And I try not to do cookie cutter plans for people. I try and take everything into consideration and meet people where they're at. That's like my number one thing, is meet people where they're at. So if someone's 60 and they're not moving around too much lately, maybe our goal is to get 3,000 steps a day and just start eating more protein heavy dishes, and make sure their sleep's good and make sure their water intake is good. There's not too much difference between people over 50 and people that are 30, 35 years old. I think, like I said, you just meet people where they're at, take it on a case-by-case basis, and then try and move them towards where they want to get to in a way that is sustainable and enjoyable. That's like my philosophy in a nutshell.
I like that. I also like the emphasis you put on getting the proper amount of sleep, because I think that is so underrated, whether you're, like I said, over 50 like I am or under 50. It's something, and especially when it comes to poker players, that I just think a lot of times they don't factor that into overall health.
I had a tweet that ruffled some feathers. I said, you don't have insomnia. You just won't get off your phone. And it's like, I've noticed a tremendous uptick in my quality of sleep and the length of sleep when I sleep with my phone in a different room. I know that's not super realistic for some, if you have kids, there's something people were like, what if you have a heart attack and you need to call someone? And I was like, you have an Apple Watch. There are ways around this, but I don't know who needs to hear this, but sleep with your phone in a different room if you just are doing the doom scrolling. Because for me, if my phone's next to me and I wake up at 3 a.m. to use the bathroom and I grab the phone, it's over. I'm gonna be on my phone for the next 2 hours, and then I'll sleep from 5 to 7. I'll wake up again. I'll go back to sleep, and it just like throws my whole day off. I think the phone is the number one lever people can pull, or electronic devices around your bed within arm's reach. If you need to hear your phone ring, keep it as far away as possible. That's my suggestion. But yeah, sleep, like I said, sleep and water intake are the 2 things that no one talks about that are like the magic bullets for really increasing your health and the way you feel.
And I just want to encourage people. There is if you're not in the premium membership, there was an expert psychologist who presented a workshop on sleep and poker players and athletes that I think you really should check out.
Yep, cosign. That was a really interesting seminar. So, and that's available to all our RecPoker premium members, and Joe Coulis's Poker Psyops episode for March. You mentioned water. That one of the questions we had was from Neil Jaworski. Neil, why do I keep saying Jaworski on this? It's obviously Neil Jaworski. Sorry about that, Neil. How much water should we be drinking?
I believe the formula that I was taught in one of my certifications was half of your body weight plus 15, and that's ounces. And then if you're overweight, you can cap it at a gallon, and you'll pretty much be fine. I just encourage people to get a gallon in. Like grown men, try to get a gallon in, but that formula works if your number happens to be below a gallon. And a key thing with water intake that I tell my clients is like, try and front load it earlier in the day, because if you procrastinate on it and you wait till later in the day, then you're playing catch up. You got to drink 80 ounces and it's already 5 p.m. and then you're waking up in the middle of the night to use the restroom 3 times. I try to get 40 ounces down in like the first hour of my day. I know it might sound like, because I've had clients come to me, I'm drinking 12 ounces of water a day. Like it's crazy, or 20 ounces of water a day. So 40 might sound like a huge amount, but if you get, and I recommend just get a 40 ounce refillable water bottle, and just know that if I drink 3 of these a day, I'm good. That way you don't have to go, what did I have?
We just lost your audio, TJ, for some reason. I don't know if you muted yourself by touching something. So you get a hard mute in there. Keep talking. I don't know if we can pick you back up again. No. That's so weird. It was, I don't know, is it possible you've got like a hard mute on one of your earbuds or something, that when you touched it, it muted your, I thought I heard something there. No. All right. TJ is going to keep working on this. No, look. Oh yeah, now we can. Now we got you. All right, there it is. Got it.
I switched my AirPods. I was using an external mic. I don't know what happened.
Okay, probably just didn't pick it up. Okay, so but we basically caught you there on how much water to drink, front end loading it, and it's a sneaky good way to get healthier. And people say it's true. And there was a question. Oh yeah, please. Oh, we lost you again. What the heck? It's not just me, right, gang? You guys can't hear him either? No? Okay.
Can't hear me. Can't hear me either.
No. That's the weirdest thing. No, I got nothing.
Oh my God.
There. Now I can hear you. Now we can hear you. Oh my God.
That's why we're live, folks.
Yeah, we got you. Yep. That's right. Just keep talking. I can hear you now. It's working perfectly.
Okay, what about now?
Yep. Loud and clear. Got it. We got you. Yep. Oh, I don't know if he can hear us. We can hear you.
Yeah, he can't. I don't think he can.
I don't think he can hear us. Oh no! So one's the input and one's the output, because we were able to hear him.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Got it.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you. Yep.
He can't
Loud
hear
and
us.
clear. Loud and clear. But he can't hear us.
All right.
Okay.
Next question. The water question is cursed.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's move on. This one's from Type Login and Rach K. Are there any good VR games for losing weight, like virtual reality setups?
I actually don't have VR, so I'm not well versed in this. I do have clients that use it, and I heard there's like a Star Wars lightsaber game that, and there's like a boxing game that are supposed to be really good. I think they have the Meta VR thing, but yeah, I do have a few clients that use that as their form of cardio, and I love it. Like, just to go on like a slight tangent, I started doing jiu-jitsu, and now that I'm in Thailand, started taking Muay Thai, which is like Thai kickboxing. And I think it's important to find cardio that doesn't feel like cardio. Like going on a treadmill for an hour is super daunting, or running outside for an hour is super daunting. But if you find these things like pickleball, I have a lot of clients that play pickleball. You find pickleball, volleyball, salsa dancing, martial arts, VR, whatever it is that makes the time go by quick and you don't feel like, oh my God, this is terrible. Because you're not going to stick to that. If you're like, oh, I'm going to do an hour of cardio a day, it's going to be on a treadmill, but you absolutely hate it, you're not going to stick to it. It's like I said, if you can't see yourself doing this a year from now, 5 years from now, just find something different, because I promise you there's tons and tons of ways that you can get cardio in that don't involve a treadmill or an elliptical or a bike.
All right, fantastic. One personal question: peanut butter and jam sandwiches, how bad are they on the scale of things that you can bring to the table and eat as a poker player?
Not terrible, but I think peanut butter, people don't realize how many calories are in a serving of peanut butter, because if you're like me, when I was a kid, you would just put on like an inch of peanut butter. But if you go ahead, like one of the most depressing things, where's my food scale? It's over there. But if you get a food scale and you measure out one serving of peanut butter, which is, I believe, 190 calories, it is a tiny amount. And you also realize how much you've been using on your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So what I recommend for people is they make powdered peanut butter now, which is like heavily reduced fat peanut butter. I think it's like 1/3 to 1/4 the calories. I haven't had it in a while, but you just mix it with either water, or I used to mix it with plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and it makes peanut butter that's way less calories, way higher protein. And then you can use, I used to use sugar-free, Smucker's makes a Splenda sweetened jelly, and I would just put that on regular white bread. I used to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all the time when I was losing weight. It was just the modified versions of peanut butter and jelly, because regular ones, one serving of peanut butter weighing out is like the most depressing thing ever. Weigh out a serving of peanut butter, weigh out a serving of almonds, and weigh out one serving of cereal, and you'll see just how calorically dense these things are and how much you've actually been using when you just free pour your cereal or you just eat a couple handfuls of almonds. It's insane.
Yeah, that's I'm going to take that to heart. I'm taking it to heart, gang. That was a popular question for the YouTube chat. We started talking about like powders and that kind of thing. Hubie wants to know, what about like protein shake meal replacements for breakfast and lunch, breakfast or lunch? What's your take on that?
I would rather use protein, and I tell my clients this, I would rather use protein as an ingredient in something, like whey protein powder as an ingredient. You can make pancakes with it. You can make waffles with it. I tell people protein shakes are fine to hit your protein goals as long as it's not affecting, like the rest of the day you're not hungry. Because if you're hungry, your protein is already broken down, so your body's not going to go through like the digestive processes that it's going to use if you have actual food. So protein shakes are fine as long as it's not affecting your hunger to the point where like you're starving all day. And like I said, I would rather use it as an ingredient. You can mix a scoop of, I have protein right here. You can put a scoop of protein powder into, like I said earlier, non-fat Greek yogurt, and it makes like a nice pudding. That's going to be much more satiating than just a straight protein shake. Or you can do like a smoothie in the morning that's a little more, has a little more volume, where you put a scoop of protein powder in there with some almond milk and some frozen berries and maybe a little bit of rolled oats in there. And I think that's a much better option than just like a straight scoop of protein with water, if that makes sense.
Very high level question
total sense.
from type login here. If you are going to do a peanut butter and jam sandwich, is it healthier to cut it rectangularly or triangularly? What's the edge?
I'm not cutting that thing. That's an unnecessary step for me. That sandwich is gone in 14 seconds. It's going to take longer to cut it than it is to eat it. I am not cutting it.
I appreciate your time, TJ. We're going a little long. I just want to get the last couple questions in from our YouTube chatters here. Mike Day wants to know, what about cottage cheese?
Love it.
Just generally.
High protein, satiating. Yeah. If you don't like cottage cheese, you can actually still use it. You can blend it down till it's like smooth and have it that way. It's more like a yogurt. But I see plenty of hype. This is like a total side note. But anyone out there watching, if you have a favorite food item that you have that's considered unhealthy, Wendy's Baconator. I always use this example. Wendy's Baconator. Go on YouTube and type in low calorie, high protein, whatever the food that you're craving is or your favorite food is. Someone's made a recipe of it, and it probably tastes 70% as good as the real thing, and it'll have way less calories, way more protein. But there's a bunch of Wendy's Baconator recipes, I swear to God. But there's a lot of protein recipes that I see that use cottage cheese, and it's usually blended to make like a queso sauce. You can use cottage cheese to make a queso sauce. Just put some real cheese in there with cottage cheese, and it blends it up and makes it smooth. You can make macaroni and cheese with it.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right. Hubie recommends a little honey or jelly in your cottage cheese. Personally, I'll eat it with a spoon with just pepper. Get some pepper on the cottage cheese. That's some good eating right there. Oh yeah. See, yeah, we got a new one on TJ here. But yeah, I mean, back when I was eating more bread, I like some rye toast with butter and cottage cheese and pepper. Man, that's
I never considered cottage
I don't know if I know
cheese
about that one.
Oh no, it's tasty.
This
You
is
guys
the
are
first
missing
time
out.
I've ever agreed with Jim on food.
Really?
I'm looking for a bridge. I'm out of here, guys.
That
This dude's
doesn't
talking
bode well
about
for
clam
you.
juice on Twitter for crying out loud.
Pepper on
Can we
Underrated.
agree on this? Oh,
Yep.
God, help me.
That's
Wow.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you haven't tried the clam, get that clamato in you. It's that special mwah to the tomato juice in a Bloody Caesar. That's what makes a Bloody Caesar better than a
I
Bloody
agree
Mary.
with Hubie on the honey.
Jim, everything is coming into clarity in terms of why you're wearing that Holter monitor right now.
That's right. All right, TJ, I had one question for you. This one's a kind of a fun one. So you had this tag team run several years ago in the WSOP with your buddy Zach Gruneberg, and every time I hear Zach's name, we've never met in real life, but my first big poker score was in 2013. My wife and I, we just gotten married. We were living in my mom's basement, saving up to buy a house. And I had just bought Poker Tracker, and I won the big 22 for about 35 grand on Poker Stars. And it was a life-changing experience. Hustler Grun was the name of one of the players at the final table. And I laid a couple of bad beats on him. I think we got it in like ace king versus my aces or something like that. And I've always had this vision of Zach Gruneberg like cursing out this Bluffsterini luck box asshole who like took the win from him. Is that come up in conversation by any chance?
You haven't come up yet, but knowing Zach as well as I do, he probably remembers that, because to this day, he still sends me like these bad beats from final tables, and he's been playing poker since at least 2013, and he plays online, so he's playing 100 tournaments a week, but he rides the highs and lows more than anyone in poker. So I'm sure he actually remembers those. He probably remembers the hand stack sizes, what was up top, what position it would have put him in chips. He will remember all that stuff.
I hope one day I get to meet him and shake his hand, because like we took that money and we put a down payment on this house here that we've lived in for the last like 12 years.
He will absolutely, like, I'm being genuine, he will absolutely love that story, and he will have a full conversation with you about it. Like, don't be afraid to bring that up to him if you do meet him.
All right. Well, maybe one day we'll have him on the show. We can talk about it. I'll look forward.
You should have him on. He won PA Player of the Year last year online, I think.
Oh yeah, right. Okay. Well, we'll get together offline and make that happen. That sounds awesome. All right. Oh, and my mom's in the YouTube chat tonight. Welcome back, Martha. Thank you for the lovely comments. Hope you're having a fun time. Yeah. Hi, Mom. All right. Let's wrap this puppy up here. We are going to play Stake, Study, Stack. This is our favorite game here on the RecPoker Podcast. So, TJ, I'm going to give you 3 names. One that you would like to stake in a poker tournament or cash game. One that you would like to study with to help you improve at the tables. And one that you'd like nothing more than to just stack them and steal all their chips while you're playing against them. So The 3 names that we've put together for you are Matt Affleck, Phil Galfond, and your old buddy Zach Gruneberg. Stake, study, and stack.
Okay. I would this is tough. I would choose to study from Phil Galfond, because I think he has such a way with breaking down high level concepts that you can understand them. Matt has that ability as well. Zach doesn't really do too much coaching. Matt has that ability as well. Man, this is tough, because like I said, but Phil Galfond is for like the high stakes, and Matt is good for, mid stakes to low stakes. Okay, I'm gonna go study Phil Galfond. I already know I'm stacking Zach. Like that was already done with, because it would be hilarious. And I would stake Matt, because I think if I'm thinking of like, in terms of staking, like in the main event, I would rather stake Matt than Phil, because I think Phil might be over it by day 2 and day 3. And that's my answers. I would stake Matt, study from Phil, and stack Zach.
Awesome. Well, thanks for playing. The last question we've got here is from Dan Edwards, and I wanted to have it at the end of the show so we could kind of sum this up and get some people interested in working with you and learning more about what exactly it is that you do. The question is from Dan Edwards: is what exactly does a fitness or nutrition coach do for their clients?
It's a good question. Like I alluded to earlier, I think the number one problem that people have is patience and the correct guidance on how to achieve the goal that they want. But most people, when they set their fitness goals, they set them with an end point. I want to lose 50 pounds. Cool. Tell me about what's going to happen after that, because that's where most everyone fails. That's where I failed dozens of times when I attempted to lose weight. I would hit my goal, celebrate a little bit, eat too much, and then it starts this slow, insidious decline back to your old way of life. And then before you know it, you gained all the weight back. You might have even gained more. So what I do is I focus on getting you to your goal and then also setting you up for success after you hit your goal so that you can sustain and maintain that goal for the next, like I said, 5, 10, or the rest of your life years. I actually tell people when I first start talking to them when they're interested in coaching, I say, my job is to get myself fired. I don't want to work with you any longer than I have to. So what I provide, guidance, and also equally as important is accountability. I like to message everyone now on a daily basis. Even if it's just, hey, good job yesterday. I take a look at their food logs. I take a look and see if they did their workout, take a look at their step count, any key metrics that we're trying to track. And I say, hey, good job yesterday. Or I say, hey, you forgot to log dinner yesterday. What was it? It's just basically, like I tell people, like, I'm going to be up your ass on a daily basis, making sure you're doing the things that you need to be doing in order to reach the goal that you told me was important to you. And I like to say, I don't ask people to do anything that I don't believe that they're fully capable of doing. Like I said earlier, I like to meet people where they're at. I don't just put everyone on the same plan. It's very fluid. And I think the daily accountability, having basically like a personal trainer in your back pocket, watching over everything you're eating, watching over your workouts, making sure that what you're doing is sustainable. I think that's probably the two most important things that I provide, is the guidance and accountability, and making sure, and this goes with the guidance, but making sure that the results that they achieve, they can maintain for a long period of time.
And where can folks find you if they want to sign up for this kind of service or find out more about what you offer?
You can find out more about the service at allinfitnesscoaching.com. I have some testimonials on there. I have a little bit about the program. And if you want to talk more, you can book a call with me. I just actually updated my hours here when I'm in Thailand. So you can book a quick consult call with me. We'll talk about your goals, see if we're a good fit to work together. I talk to people that, I want to get back into powerlifting. That's not me. I actually have a friend that does powerlifting coaching. So I hand it off to him. I want to make sure it's a good fit. I want to make sure the person's coachable. So I like to meet with them before that. And if you want to follow me on social media, The Fitness Jerk on Twitter or /X and Instagram.
Yeah.
I think
I can't call it X. I can't call it X. It doesn't feel right. It's Twitter. God damn it. All right, TJs, thank you again, man. I really appreciate this. And folks, a number of players that I speak to have spoken to me about working with TJ and the effects that he's had on their performance and their health. And so we don't just have him on the show to kind of fluff what he's doing here and to put him out there. This is something that has really helped a lot of people. So I would encourage you to look him up and check him out. TJ, thank you again. What a treat, my man. Hope to meet you one day in real life. Have fun over there.
You will. Thank you so much for having me on. This was actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be fun, but it was a lot more fun than the fun that I anticipated, if that makes sense.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Gold star.
yeah.
Gold star, everybody. We did it. We got him. All right. Well, we'll look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So, folks, stick around. We're going to give away, someone is going to win a month's coaching session with Matt Affleck. Someone's going to win a month's coaching session with Mark Zhang. We're going to give away a free month of premium membership at pokercoaching.com. First, I just want to say, if you head over to runaces.com, you can find out everything that's going on at Running Aces over the course of the next little while. They've got a calendar set up. It's currently time for the Mid-States Poker Tour from April 3rd to 13th. There's a series of tournaments going on over there. It's kind of some of the best fun they have all year round. And it's never too early to start planning for RecPoker Weekend at Running Aces. That's going to be August 1st and 2nd this summer. So do sign up for that. Start booking the weekend off. It is going to be a lot of fun. I'm heading out there. I know a lot of your favorite Wrecking Crew members will be there as well. So I hope we can make that happen. Rob Washam, so the way we do this, if you're a premium member here at Rec Poker, you get a point for every premium event that you attend throughout the month. And Rob Washam, our Rec Poker Santa, has been reviewing his naughty and nice list, and he's got a nice list of people that have been attending Rec Poker premium events throughout the month of March. So how do you want to tee this up, Rob?
Well, basically, you get one entry for every time you join us for a premium event during the month. So if you join them all, you can have, I can't even think of how many entries.
Yeah,
you could have 10, 15 entries potentially.
We do a lot of premium events here.
Yes, we do. So basically, that's what we do. And then our invisible producer, Rob Gardner, takes that list and puts it on a wheel, and there it is.
Look at that beautiful thing.
Very impressive, isn't it? Look at how many people are on that list.
That's a lot of premium members. All right, let's see. So the first spin this week, we're going to do the first winner is going to be a coaching session with Mark Zhang, professional poker and coach. Let's see who is going to be the winner of an hour with Mark Zhang. Joe,
you will sign up for premium. You will sign up for premium.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're missing out if you don't. Oh my God! Wow, wait a second. Wasn't Joe?
Joe was the winner. Yes, Joe was the winner.
He was the winner last year with Mark.
Last month.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna let it ride. We'll see if Mark can dig even deeper into Joe's psyche and poker game. All right, that's exciting. And then let's see who is going to win a coaching session with Matt Affleck. Let's see who the winner is going to be this month. This is so cool. I just love that these professional players and coaches are coming to share their learning with our members. It's one of the coolest things that we do. Kim Kilroy. All right. Congratulations. So we're going to reach out to both of you guys, Joe and Kim. Look for an email from Rob over the course of the next few days. We'll put you in touch with your coaches and set up your coaching session. Those will be on the 4th week of the month in April. So you've got some time to think about the questions that you have for your coach, maybe to put some hands together or a poker tracker database or something like that. And in month number 2, we have our first back-to-back winner with Joe Rafter, who I'm going to get to visit with personally in a couple weeks over at the Irish Poker Open. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, gang, I think if there's nothing else, we'll give away our free month to pokercoaching.com. This is our food bank raffle. Thanks, everyone, for typing the words food bank into the raffle there. And if we come up with the food bank on the wheel, I'll be making a donation to a local food bank of my choosing as well. Let's see, who's it going to be?
You will give money to a food bank. You will give money to a food bank.
Looks like Eric Epson. There we go. Fantastic.
E-squared.
Long time Rec Poker member and fun guy. Loves traveling and playing poker all over. Well, actually didn't used to, but he's been doing a little more of that over the last couple of years. So congratulations, Eric. I hope you enjoy your free month of pokercoaching.com. Please send an email to info@rec.poker. That's info@rec.poker. And Rec Poker Santa that's the 4th Rec Poker Santa. I think that's got to be a hard cap. No more than 3 going forward.
I think we'll have to put an over/under on it every episode.
Yeah.
And maybe we can generate some more income for food banks.
Yeah, right. There you go. It's like the swear jar, but for putting donations to the food bank.
Kind of like
we start doing that for audio miscues too. No one would ever go hungry again.
Over under is 2.5 sometimes.
All right. Oh, John Somsky, please share some home game winners. I knew I was doing this in the wrong order, and then we will wrap this puppy up and roll on out of here. Yes, John, you've done it again. Never change. I am so pleased. Yeah, more that would go right into the food bank jar. Right there. We got to.
So right now we're at 1 miscue because we can't count TJ So we have to count anybody in our crew. So that's we're at 1. And I think the over/under was 1.5. So
I'll get us one of
more.
those factory signs that says "Days without an audio accident."
You just might as well keep that at 0.
Yeah.
Unless you kick me off the podcast. Those are your 2 choices.
Or just don't waste your money
taxes.
buying one. Just don't buy one.
That's great. Death, taxes, and Somsky muting himself coming into
Okay.
the session.
So
All
Don't
right.
Crush your 14. Marcel Dusick got his second nightly victory for the year. Don't Crush 666. Joseph Armstrong got his 3rd nightly victory for the year.
Nice.
Stewie 13. Stuart Carriage got his 2nd nightly victory for the year. E. Anderson 85. Eric Anderson got his 4th nightly victory for the year. Evil Roy CA David Westerveld got his 2nd nightly victory for the year. And Izima got his or her 2nd nightly victory for the year. Eben Flows Ebson got his 1st daily mixed victory for the year. JD Cat 32 Jeff Catalano got his 2nd international victory for the year. East Coast Spitter Ben Enslow got his 2nd international victory for the year. And that was 2 weeks in a row. I had to make sure that I didn't accidentally forget to paste the right thing in there. But anyway, and then Evil Roy CA David Westerveld won his first LPP event for the year, so he can contact info at rec.poker for his free month at Learn Pro Poker.
Fantastic. John Somsky, thank you so much for all that you do to keep. We've got almost 500 members in our home game club. We run 10 or 11 home games every week, and John tracks every single one of them, starts them all up, makes sure they're running smoothly, and keeps track of who's winning the pins and, who's in the player of the year race and all this kind of stuff. It's a huge job. He does it so well. I'll put my offer back out there. If you see John Somsky in the wild and you buy him a beer, take a photo. I will buy you a beer next time I see you in public. So it's like the transitive property of beer buying. Do take me up on it, and let's reward John for his fantastic work that he does here at RecPoker. All right. Thank you all for your fantastic work here at RecPoker. This was a great episode. I want to thank TJ Jurkiewicz, John, Joe, Rob, Lorianne, invisible producer Rob Gardner, everyone in the YouTube chat. That was so much fun. Our listeners at home, we couldn't do it without you. Y'all rock. See you next week on the RecPoker Podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for stopping in. Like.